Hey guys, Caesar here. Today we're gonna be talking about how to fix an SX-64 and replace the membrane. If you have keys that are sticking, right? You push like H and it's not touching it, it's not going. You're getting mad. You're like slamming that key. I've been there before. And if you get keys that like you hit G and it's like, and it's like hitting that G a bunch of times, like 5 times, maybe 10, then stay tuned. You don't want to miss this how-to on how to fix your membrane. Let's go. Okay guys, what we have here is a Commodore 64 SX-64. It's the portable or luggable computer. That's a bit of a pain to carry around. But what I'm doing here, there's plenty of videos that show you how to pop all these off. But it's not too difficult. I recommend the plastic tool. I don't know if this even makes sense. T001. And then all the keys have this little plastic notch on both sides that you just push in, and then you just start popping them all off. What I'm doing here is a membrane. I'll be doing a membrane exchange, and the membrane exchange isn't too difficult, so as long as you take it easy. I like to preserve the old one just in case for a backup, but all you have to do is like work your way, because this has been stuck for what, 40 years. You can see how that's stuck right there. You basically have to kind of work your way around and try not to tear anything out. I've seen preferably using toothpicks. So you can see it's already coming off right here. You kind of have to find the stuck spots right there. But yeah, toothpick supposedly it's supposed to be easier than, I guess I can kind of use this as a toothpick because it's plastic and in the form, and I can pull up those areas. You can see it just started ripping right there. Not much you can do because this has been stuck, like I said, for a long time. But I got the replacement membrane. It's not that difficult to put on. This is just the most lengthy part of this whole process. And after this is all done, I'll show you exactly what to do. So this wasn't too bad to take off compared to my last one. I own 2 of these, and I would say this is the best working one, but I bought a new membrane for this one as well, and an extra one. There'll be a link below the video where to order that membrane. But essentially what happens over time is these get stuck, and as you're pressing keys, sometimes they get double stuck. And so I tested it out in my other keyboard, and it wasn't too difficult to change out. I've seen videos where sometimes these lines right here that make contact to the board right here, they end up losing their graphite. And so you have to use a pen if you want to do it that way. But I think the easiest way is just to get a new membrane, and don't fiddle with the old one. That's my recommendation. So the new membrane will take care of a lot of this. So what I'm going to be doing now is cleaning up this board, like this debris right here. Just like scratch it off. Again, use a plastic tool, nothing metal that is too abrasive. And then once I'm done with this cleanup here, I'll clean it with alcohol. I'll clean it with an eraser, and then clean it again with alcohol. So let's go ahead and do that now. I'm going to put this in time-lapse mode so you're not bored. So I've pretty much finished cleaning this with the alcohol. I use 100% alcohol. I like these little doodads right here because I don't have to keep pouring alcohol into my towel. I just press down and then just clean. And so once you get this all cleaned up, I have to be honest with you, this board was actually pretty clean compared to my last one. So there wasn't much to remove as far as debris. And if I'm looking at it, to be honest with you, through the reflection of the light, these contacts are quite clean, very, very clean. So I'm impressed actually. So it's just a matter of cleaning this board up with alcohol, and I think we're gonna be good to go. If your board is a lot dirtier, you know, then I recommend getting an eraser and going through and erasing the areas that are a little bit rough. Let's see. There's only certain areas that I noticed that it's a little bit dirty, but like I mentioned, overall this is a pretty clean board, really clean. And if you have dirty contacts, you just want to rub these contacts with a razor. Doesn't hurt to do it. And what's going to happen is it just takes away any type of dirt or stickiness that was there before. So this one had maybe 4 stickinesses throughout the membrane. That's what they call the white part. But mine, previous one, had a bunch of them. It was like super stuck everywhere. So it took forever to remove. And I was being extra careful in case I was going to preserve it too. So, but this one, I don't really mind. I'm just glad there's somebody still making them. I'm in the US in California, and the gentleman that makes them, I believe he's somewhere in Europe. I'll check the address right now on the bag and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, we're done with this one. Our WAP software, and he is in stock, Staffordshire, United Kingdom. So shout out to Richard. You guys can see I spent 3 of them. I bought them for what, 60 a piece? I don't even know, whatever the value of GBP is. I think it came out to like $100 in US dollars, somewhere around there. But for me, it's worth it because the keyboard is flawless now. The other one is, and so when you get these, what you want to do is pull them out slowly. But you're gonna have this plastic one first. So I'm just gonna clean it really quick because I just did the eraser one more time through alcohol, and then I'll lay down the plastic. So it's not too difficult. I think this is the hardest part about this operation, is pulling off that membrane and then doing the cleanup. Everything else is just really making sure your membrane is aligned when you put it back together. Pretty awesome. So we're good there. Let's pull this membrane out. What you want to look for is this notch. This notch is going to go where the other side is at. So depending on your orientation, is it going to go this way? No, because none of this aligns. So you're going to flip it over and kind of align it the best as possible to that square or that rectangle, and the other ones should sort of align. And I'm just adjusting it over here where the light's at. This little LED. I'm just gonna adjust the plastic. That looks really good. That looks centered there. And everything over here looks quite centered. On my last one, I actually had to pull these back a tad, the aluminum casing, because it wasn't allowing me to put the membrane in and let it sit flush. So let's figure out the notches. So these 2 notches up here are gonna match those notches, so we're gonna do it this way. And then this one does come with an extra little bump there, if you guys can see that. That bump helps, I believe, put pressure down onto the contacts for your board. So I'm just adjusting this as best as possible, verifying my contacts are going to be centered to the holes right there, and I think we are good to rock and roll. I think the recommendation is to pop in a key so it holds it holds everything in place. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. Doesn't really matter which key it is. Just gonna pop it in right there. So let's turn this baby around. And here is your new membrane with the plastic piece below it. Now that plastic piece is a layer so that you're not making these ghosting keys. I know if you own one of these, you'll notice that sometimes you press the keys and they'll either shoot the same key out 500 times or it's more like 5. But yeah, that's gonna help with that for sure. And I just tested this out. My other one, like I said, it was just flawless. So you don't want to put this all back together until you've tested out all your keys, and then you can, like, you know, put the brain, the whole casing back together. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is put together back this part here, which is going to be laid down right in that piece. It's imperative that you understand that this flat part is facing down and that notch is actually facing up, and then so the indentation is actually under it. So this notch up here will be your top part of this. So I do see my holes aren't completely centered, so I'm gonna adjust this a tad if I could. Okay, I think that's the best we're gonna get. So I'm gonna go ahead and press down on this, flip this over. Put a screw in. Yeah, I'm afraid I'm gonna rip this thing, so I'm gonna pop this key out one more time because I feel like it's not completely centered on that corner, and this could be just grabbing it. So push it in on both sides. It's now popped out. Let's make our adjustment. This is important that you center this piece right there, because this is where everything's going to make contact as soon as you push this down. So let's go ahead and lay this down. I mean, you can see that it's not centered if I have to move this, which kind of stinks a little bit, but it's more important that these are centered, because then you're going to have problems afterwards. So I'm spending a little bit of time talking about this area because it's a bit tricky. All right, let's go ahead and do it. So I'm going to center that piece. You almost have to like hold it towards your body so that you can center it. It's not the easiest operation to put these guys on. You just got to make sure those holes are centered on your right hand side, but I think we got it here. All right, this guy's not aligned. What is going on? Let's push him in. I heard the click and I think we're good. I don't over tighten it. I just do enough until my screwdriver is done moving. And that's what you should have. So now it's just a matter of putting this all back together And I'm gonna do this in super pursuit mode. If you need to clean your buttons, I like to get a little bit of 100% alcohol and just like wipe them down. If you see that yours are dirty, like maybe that guy has a little bit of debris, get a microfiber cloth, dip it, wipe it. So I won't do this to all of them if they're not dirty, but I'm gonna go ahead and take care of this now, and you'll see me put all these back together. Definitely satisfactory when you get into that last one. Number 5. All right, verified that nothing is sticking up. It looks pretty good. I do want to talk about this one here. On the original, they actually fold this in, so it makes ground contact. So you want to essentially line this hole in with the other guy. And I know it's difficult, so I would suggest like using this pry tool to kind of push it until that hole opens up, and then you can press down right here, hold your position until you find your screw, and then you are good to go. So I'm using this sort of gold one. I don't think it matters. It's not the long ones here. It's actually the longer, not the smallest either, but it's like that halfway through one. So like, I think we'll be good to go right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and use 1, 2, and 3 for 1, 2, and 3. I am missing one of these, I remember. And then use the 2 to hold down the cable when you put this back together. So let's go ahead and put this guy back together. Yes, I realize this is a Phillips and I have a flat blade, but I don't have my Phillips handy. And then you want to just do it so that it's not super tight, but just tight enough. So we are good to test. We're just going to hook up our cable here to the machine, and we can test all the keys. Let's do it. All right, moment of truth. Let's hook up our keyboard. I already got that cable in from the bottom. It's just a matter of hooking this up to our development of a new membrane. Before I do that, I do like to clean the ends because of junk over time. I'll dip it into some alcohol, like so, and then clean the ends with a brush, a fine brush, just so that there's some clean copper in there, because it does get dusty, and it's just, I don't know, it's good. Something I've always learned from my dad since I was like 5 years old, kid you not. That's how I fixed a 2600 Atari that I got at a garage sale at a swap meet. True story, true story. And I got it for like $5 because it didn't work, and all I had to do was go through the board and just clean it so it makes better contact. So I swear by it. Everything gets fixed with alcohol. Let me rephrase that. Rubbing alcohol. There you go. All right, so we're gonna see it up there as well because this screen takes a little bit of time for it to kick in. I do have a Jiffy DOS in this computer because I believe when I got it from, this is the one from my uncle. I can tell because I built this notch right here. You can 3D print notches. He gave it to me because it didn't work, but you can see the screen looks beautiful, like really good. so it's like hardly used after it was destroyed. So I think the PLA chip was bad and maybe something else. Obviously, I put Jiffy DOS on here to see if I can do some cool stuff with it, and I didn't realize how cool Jiffy DOS actually is. If you guys don't know about Jiffy DOS, you can load stuff right here, pretty easy. All right, let's test out the keys. So why am I getting an S for everything I punch in? I must be missing something somewhere. What happened? And this is why we don't screw it down all the way, for this particular reason. Could just have a bad contact somewhere. Well, we know the keyboard works, but I'm getting an S every time I push it. So, let me go figure this out. Be right back. So I did find the culprit of what is causing the duplicating keys and kind of killing off some other keys. It's A, and I can't figure out why. So I'm gonna take off probably like this section and see if there's a debris under that A that's maybe causing it to activate during key presses. Super weird. Alright guys, so that was it. I basically found the area where my keys were duplicating because of that A. I removed a portion of all this, peeled back the membrane, and then cleaned it with the eraser and then alcohol. The contact's really good, and then just made sure that there's no debris in there, and now it's working perfectly. There's my A. Let's erase it. Q W E R T Y U I O P @ asterisk arrow up A S D F G H J K L colon semicolon equals sweet Z X C V B N W comma period / and we are good to rock and roll. Super awesome. So let me show you really quick what Jiffy DOS, the power of Jiffy DOS does. For those that don't have it, I do have a disk in there right now. I'm just going to clear this out by hitting enter. And then we're going to hit F1. And Jiffy DOS takes away the fun of the load, quotes, and then $, and then quotes again. But no biggie. I had a number 2 was popping out, so I had to fix that real quick. But I got my list. It looks like it's working. So I think if I do like shift run, it actually runs the first file on that disk. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm just glad it works, and I've now fixed 2 SX-64s, and I've showed you the bad part. If you're getting funky keys, find out where you're getting those funky keys from, and then trace that area. It actually killed some of my keys on the far right, so if you're not getting any keys on the far right, then you know it's somewhere in the left and I fortunately found the right one, which was A. So learn from my mistake. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.